Social penetration theory by Altman and Taylor explains how relationships develop and how it occurs through self-disclosure. This theory uses the analogy of an onion. Through self-disclosure, we peel back the layers of the onion to develop a deeper, more intimate relationship, most of the time. It's important to note that this theory looks at self-disclosure of the dyad and not the individual like we see with Johari window. Social penetration happens through 3 layers. The superficial layer is that outermost layer. It would be things people most know about you. If I disclose something superficial, it might be like, I go to Kirkwood. So we have a superficial relationship with most of our coworkers or acquaintances, or perhaps that checkout person at Hy-Vee you see every week when you get groceries. Most of the self-disclosure that occurs in this relationship isn't very deep. The next layer is the social layer. You may have some close friends, close coworkers, or even some family members at the social layer. Relationships at the social layer are truly interpersonal, meaning you know someone well enough to predict their behavior. They know your personality. An example of disclosure on the social level might be like, System of a Down is my favorite band. This is not something that probably you would know about me unless you knew me pretty well, but it's not like my deepest, darkest secret. A side note, that's actually true for me. Finally, the core layer is the deepest layer. It's likely that you only have a few relationships at this layer. These people know everything from your deepest hopes and fears, your highs and lows, etc. It usually takes a lot of time and effort to penetrate that core. Self-disclosure is simply defined as sharing information about ourselves. In social penetration theory, self-disclosure may be breadth, meaning you're disclosing but at the same level as your current relationship. Depth means you're sharing something at a deeper level. For example, if I have a superficial relationship with someone and we continue to close very superficial disclosures with each other, that's breadth. It's highly likely this relationship will stay superficial unless someone takes the risk in the relationship and discloses something deeper to take that relationship to the next level. However, a relationship can only move to that next level if that disclosure is in kind, meaning if I disclose something deeper, you have to as well. So if I disclose something really deep about my past, such as abuse or alcoholism, or something on more of a core level, and your response back is, I had French fries for dinner, that's not in kind, not going to create depth in the relationship to penetrate the layers. It's important to note for core relationships, superficial communication still occurs. I have a core relationship with my husband. We still discuss the weather, sports scores, etc. It's also possible to have a superficial relationship with someone and discuss core level topics or disclosures. If they're not in kind or two-sided or few and far between, your relationship's probably going to stay superficial. Remember the onion? Peeling the layers is a slow process. It's not like one layer and you're suddenly at social or you're suddenly at core. The part that Altman and Taylor didn't think about in the 1970s is how technology and social media or even online dating impacts our self-disclosure and relationship development. This theory stands the test of time, but I think the internet has changed the way we penetrate through these layers. Ever checked out someone's Facebook or Instagram page? We can usually get a lot of that superficial information just based on someone's social media page. When we meet that person face to face, it gives us a background to go off of and we can create that depth much faster. Some research in computer-mediated communication has shown we're more likely to disclose deeper information online when we compare to a face-to-face medium. Primarily online relationships can develop depth because of this very quickly, but lack some breadth. I've been teaching online for the last decade, and I can attest that online students are much more likely to disclose more depth in online discussions compared to in the classroom. You probably see this every day in your encounters with social media. So that's a brief overview of social penetration theory and how we develop those deeper relationships.